So, is the nightmare finally over for the Cleveland Browns? Deshaun Watson today went down with a season ending Achilles injury. Lots of fans were cheering, lots of fans were laughing. I feel like the overall consensus of Cleveland Browns fans is that they're thankful that this injury happened. So, I don't know. We can get into the morals and the ethics of it all and whether or not this was karma along with his season ending shoulder injury a year ago. If you were to ask me, I would say 10,000% it was karma, especially the fact how it was essentially a non contact injury, just crazy stuff. As far as the game went, DTR got in there, threw a couple picks, and then Jameis Winston also got some reps in. Going forward, I'm not really sure who you start there at QB1. I'd probably roll with Jameis. I don't think DTR is ready to really run that offense. I could be wrong, but personally, I would throw Jameis in there just for the kicks. Add some excitement to the Cleveland Browns fan base. Watching Jameis Winston play is always a good time. Just a pure gunslinger. You live by the deep ball, you die by the deep ball. So, no matter what, when Jameis Winston plays, you're going to see some deep throws. It's either going to be big plays or it's going to be big INTs. I feel like the Browns fans kind of deserve that kind of excitement back into their lives every Sunday. So I'd go with Jameis. Let me know who you would go with. Also, the heart and soul of the Browns came back this week. Nick Chubb, he scored a touchdown. I'm probably going to assume his workload will rapidly increase every week. It was his first time back in quite some time, over a year, so obviously not a huge workload, but going forward, I definitely expect more reps, more carries, more everything, because they need him even though the season's done. Again, it's just about playing for the city of Cleveland and the fans at this point. It's just playing for pride, honestly. It's just playing for pride because this team is not a playoff team. They could go on some crazy run because that defense is capable, and they do have Njoku, Nick Chubb, Jerry Judy's decent, but their overall record right now is kind of hard to overcome. We're about halfway done the NFL season, and at one point or another, it just comes down to basic math, and they're not mathematically eliminated by any means just yet, but mathematically, basics, ABC 1, 2, 3, they gotta just go on a hell of a run, essentially go undefeated, and not only that, but they need to have a lot of other AFC teams lose games. It's just realistically not very likely that this team will make the playoffs in 2024. So it's all about pride and just playing for the city of Cleveland and your teammates for the remainder of the year. It is what it is, man. Sad stuff, but the show goes on. Now, going forward with Deshaun Watson, what will the Browns do with him in the 2025 offseason? Are they going to keep him? Are they going to cut him? Regardless, that contract that they gave him, there's going to be repercussions. It's going to take a long time to kind of dig themselves out of this hole. If they do cut him, they still have to eat hundreds of millions of dollars in dead cap money. I believe it would be the biggest dead cap hit in NFL history. So if you cut him, you have to go down that route. And if you keep him too, I don't know, man. I think I would just cut him, because if you were to keep him and let's say they do draft a quarterback, I just think it's bad. Just a bad vibe, just an awkward vibe, because there's no way. I know Myles Garrett came out today after the game saying Deshaun Watson is a model citizen. I understand he's PR, and all that, and maybe he does get along with Watson, but that's just bogus. That's just utter garbage coming out of his mouth. So that's just crazy to hear from probably the Browns' best player, but still, it is what it is. He's by no means a model citizen in any way imaginable. But back to my point, for him to return to this team, I just don't think he's liked by all of his teammates. And as a quarterback, you're the leader. You're that leader in that locker room. You're the leader everywhere for the organization. You represent like $100 million organization, and would anybody want Deshaun Watson to be the face of their company? Absolutely not. And I know the city of Cleveland hates him, so I just don't think you could bring this guy back. You just kind of gotta eat it for a couple years with regards to all the finances and the salary cap. And with that, it means they're not gonna have good rosters going forward. They're probably gonna have to cut some guys and move on from some guys, and at the same time not being able to sign any free agents or do any of that. So you got to expect, unfortunately, if you're a Browns fan, the Browns aren't probably going to field the best teams the next 2-3 years, but we'll see if somehow they could finesse their way out of this historic blunder somehow. Let me know what y'all would do. Would you cut Deshaun Watson or would you keep him? Again, the money and the specificities of all that will kind of be revealed, and it'll be a lot more clear in the 2025 offseason, because the salary cap in itself is a very kind of sketchy topic. It can be manipulated. Money can be pushed around, and money can be swept under the rug. There's lots of little tricks that GMs and owners do, so I don't have those answers. I don't have those answers for you right now. The experts, probably insiders, don't have the answers for you either right now, but as time goes on, it'll reveal itself more and more every day. But yeah, man, that might be the last snap that Deshaun Watson ever takes for the Cleveland Browns. It very well could be. And not only that, but it could be the very last snap that he ever takes in the National Football League. And to that I say, good riddance. When he first got drafted, those first 4 years, he looked pretty good with Houston. And right when he got to Cleveland and all those allegations, I don't know what happened, man. He got paid, and, he didn't really care anymore. All his talent and his skill just basically disappeared within the blink of an eye, and he's been quite awful as the Browns quarterback. And like I said, one of the worst contracts in NFL history, just a historic blunder, and we've seen a lot of historic blunders the last couple of years. Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson, come on, man. But if you're a Browns fan, there is some light at the end of the tunnel. They did lose today, and I expect them to kind of lose more as the season goes on. So with that, they will probably accumulate a high draft pick going into the 2025 draft. And lucky for them, the 2025 draft is loaded with QBs. I know the Browns don't have a good history of drafting quarterbacks, but man, I think they're going to have the pick of the litter, and I think it's going to be hard to screw it up. As long as you have Stefanski coming back, I trust him offensively. I really do. I know the owner, Haslam, is a nutcase, always has been, but as long as you have Stefanski, I feel like there's potential to do something, to be successful. But once he goes, you kind of got to wave the white flag. So, who knows, man? Maybe in 2025, there will be light and hope in Cleveland again with a young quarterback with massive potential, with Stefanski, maybe Nick Chubb. Maybe that defense will still be kind of competent. To better days, Cleveland, to better days. And yeah, man, let me know what y'all think about all this news. Deshaun Watson, was it karma, was it not? Who do you think the Browns are going to draft in 2025? Would you cut him? Would you keep him? Let me know. If you made this far, please subscribe. It'd help out your boy a ton. And that's all I got for right now. Peace.
Good job by the receiver, running into that defense through the zone, finding the open space, and making a nice catch.
Aaron Rodgers will be under center. The Packers snap it at the 41. Wears all over that offense and brings him down.
The Packers running back that time, he makes a bad decision. You can't be looking to make every play a big play when you're running the football. Look for a few yards, take advantage of that. He tries for the big play. What happens? He gets tackled for a loss.
From the gun, Rodgers. They're going to get him here for a sack.
A lot of things to look at if you're a quarterback in this league now, isn't it? You're looking at safeties, you look at linebackers, but you forget, hey, these corners can blitz. Good disguise, good timing, and a nice sack by the corner.
Aaron Rodgers going to take it from the shotgun. He has the grab. And he's going to be tackled, and that's going to bring us to 4th down.
Nice job that time by the defense, knowing the situation. Go ahead and let the quarterback complete the pass. Just make sure you come up and make the tackle before the first down. Good job. 4th down coming up.
And that punt is going out of bounds. They are not going to allow them to return it. The Broncos just keep on moving the football down the field. They have scored on 3 consecutive drives, Phil, and it looks like this defense has no answer for them.
No, they don't. They're second-guessing everything you're doing on the defensive side. You know, when you get a defense that reacts instead of attacks, then you know you have their number, and that's what's happening.